Welcome to part 2 of Editing 101. I just wanted to show y'all some additional fun editing that you can do in Photoshop. So I went ahead and I have opened a photo. I took this at Savannah College of Art and Design. It was this interesting art installation, and I took a photo of a small part of it, and this very colorful fish is vomiting yarn. So why not have some fun with it? All right, so the photo's open and I just have a background layer. And what we're gonna do with this one is what's called selective color. So we're gonna make it black and white and we're gonna bring out some of the color. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a black and white adjustment layer. So I'm gonna click on that and then I can mess with those different colors that are evident in it and mess with those value range. So let's do a little bit of red, pop up some of those yellows, not a whole lot of greens in this one. Now we'll auto do some of it, but I kind of like to go in myself and have some contrast. Now we can go back in and we could maybe do some brightness and contrast adjustment layer before we do our selective color. Kind of like some contrast in it. Now remember, we want to make that copy. If I wanted to go in and maybe do some dodging and burning on this to lighten some select areas. So since the fish is my focal point, I kind of want to make sure it's a little bit lighter. All right, so that's just some basic edits. So now I'm going to go to my black and white layer and we're going to bring back some color. So I have to make sure I'm on my black and white adjustment layer, and then I hit B for brush or click on the brush tool. So then what we're going to do is I'm going to use my brackets to make the tool bigger. Or remember, I can go up to size right here and do that. But I like to see how large I'm making it, so I use the brackets. So then I want to make them a size that works, and I'm going to brush, and I'm clicking and I'm holding as I'm dragging around with my finger, and I'm bringing back some color. I can command plus to get closer. And then I'm going to kind of brush over. So maybe I make a mistake and I go too far out and I bring back some of that fish skin. Ooh, and let me get a little bit of this too. Then what I do is I just go back over to my colors over here and I'm going to reverse it and have white in the front. And then I can take it back to black and white. I'm going to go Command 0. And so then I can maybe go to some other areas. I'm going to flip it back to black. And I'm going to brush over some other areas where I want color to come back. So maybe it's in this fish bobber. And remember, you can zoom in if you want to, but I'm just going to go farther out. So you keep on going and you brush back where you want color. And then maybe I could go in a couple other places. Let's see, that really wasn't a whole lot of color. And be selective where you want that color to go, because maybe you want it to move your eye around the image. So by having this little bit of yellow down here, it can draw your eye to different parts of the photo. So you can see I have the fish bobber, this, so that way your eye kind of bounces around. And you can remember, you can always take it back. So I think I remember this being red too, so maybe I have that little edge of the bonnet scallop there. Now I obviously want to be precise and clean with that, so I can always go back, but I'm just going to kind of, for the demo's sake, do the sweep. So maybe I like this, and I want to like mess with some other versions. So I could go ahead and say File, Save As, and let's call it Fish Art, because it kind of is. And I can call this Selective Color. So maybe I just want one version of this, so I say I'm going to make sure it's going into my documents, into photo 1, scrolling down. There it is, and say save. So I have a version of that photo now saved. But then let's also go ahead and file save as our Photoshop version. So let's call it Fish Art, Edit in all caps. And it's already going to my photo 1 folder, and I'm going to say save. Okay. So now I have my Photoshop version that I'm still working on and that one version saved. So now let's play with a different way. So I'm going to deselect those layers, and I'm just clicking that eyeball next to it. And we're gonna do something where we're taking the edits from another photo to make it look a little bit more vintage. So one of the things I did was I went to Google and I looked up Kodachrome fish. If y'all remember, Kodachrome is that type of film that National Geographic photographers liked. And I did Kodachrome fish because I found all these vintage photographs of fishermen back in the day with that cool Kodachrome look that's really hard to replicate with digital unless you edit it. So I kind of had fun. I took some photos that I liked and I dragged and dropped them down into Photoshop. So this was one of them that I pulled. So you just click the image and I'm going to drag, and if I drop it on the Photoshop logo, it opens in a new tab. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to click on these double arrows and I'm going to click back on my fish art. And now we're going to have fun with it. So I'm going to go on my background copy layer, which remember we do Command J if we want to make a layer copy of it. So I already had one, so I'm just deleting that one. All right, so I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Match Color. So Image, Adjustments, Match Color is what I can go to, let's say, appropriate is a nice way of saying stealing the look of someone else's, but I'm still making it my own. It's still on my photo. So I have all these other fun ones just to show y'all some different ways. Let's look at, not that one. That was another photo. Let's go here. All right, so it is very, very blue. So I'm picking up this blue fish image, and I would never take it like this. But Fade will take it back to my original photo, so I can just have just a little bit of this blueness to it. Color intensity is at saturation. So maybe I want to desaturate a little bit. And then luminance is the brightness. So then I can take just a little bit of that vintage look and I can press OK if I like it. But I can also change my source, and I had multiples in here of different Kodachrome fish. So this one's a Kodachrome photograph, not a fish per se, but just from that era. And then I like that kind of more natural, little warm look. Or maybe I go to my source and I try another one. This one is that one that I showed y'all in demo that has kind of a sepia bluish contrast. Let's try another one. Oh, that's that same one. So you can just play around and see if you like that. Never take it with the auto, y'all. Mess with that fade. Take it back to your original. That's with all of it. Mess with that color intensity. And then if you like it, press OK. So then now we've done that. That's the original, and that's just with a match color. That's not too drastic, but it's a quick way of doing it. So maybe you've done some edits on another image and you want to pull the exact same edits you did on another one. You could do that Image, Adjustments, Match Color to do that as well. Now, something else that we can do for fun is we can go to Filter and Filter Gallery. Now, something that I want you guys to make sure you do before you go to the Filter Gallery, kind of like Prisma, make sure you're on your layer copy and check your colors here, because if you have crazy colors, you're going to see that in your filter gallery. So I have black and white set. If it's ever defaulted, y'all, just click those squares right here, the tiny ones, and it will take you back to black and white. So then we go to Filter, Filter Gallery, and it's going to zoom in a little bit, so I'm going to zoom out. And it has all of these interesting edits. So this looks like a pop artwork, or something like a pen, or a stamp, water paper. So there's all these folders. You got sketch, you have distort, you have brush strokes, you have artistic. They all do completely different things. Some are very, very intense, but you can go over here and you can mess with the brush detail, texture, and it will be dependent on what you choose. You can customize it a little bit. You go something crazy like glowing edges. What are some other fun ones? We can go to texture. We can make it look like stained glass. I can mess with the cell size of it and make it look very abstract, so it's pure color. Maybe that would be fun for your elements and principles. And so you can see, depending on the different level. So have fun with it. Filter galleries, within reason. Don't go too crazy and make it look so drastically different where it's over edited. But sometimes they're kind of fun for certain photos to mess with. So if you like it, press OK. If you don't like any of them, press cancel. So one of the other things I wanted to show you is how to sharpen an image. So this one, it was a little low light in the gallery, so I might want to sharpen this image up a little bit. So I want to make sure I'm on my background copy layer, and I can go to Filter, Sharpen, Smart Sharpen. Now I like this better than the sharpen tool, and so Filter, Sharpen, Smart Sharpen will do an overall sharpening of my image. Now I can see it here. I can also see it zoomed in on my pixels. Mount is how much I want it to sharpen. And then radius will kind of mess with the edges a little bit. You can see how it can get a little bit more intense or a little bit softer. And then noise is like that grain that can happen in low light. So I can reduce some noise if I'd like, and then mess with some sharpen. And then if I like it, press OK. If I don't, press cancel. Let's just press OK. And if we get that wheel, it just means it's loading, and that progress, that is OK. Just don't click anything, just let it load. And then once it's done, I can see it original and then sharpened. And if I'm like, change my mind, I don't like it, I can go back to my history, remember, and I can take it back to before the Smart Sharpen. So you can see that difference. So that's just kind of Smart Sharpen. So again, that is if you have a little bit of a blurry image. Now it can't fix something that's out of focus, but it can at least just sharpen it. Now where some of the other tools are, like the Sharpen tool, you can in spot areas, sharpen, blur, smudge will kind of blur things together. So that's where one of those other tools is located. So thanks for watching kind of Editing 101 Part 2. Hope you enjoyed finding out some of the other things that you can do with your photographs, like match color and Smart Sharpen and Filter Gallery.